Alright, the balance adjustment completely gutted my previous Virgo Cup video, but at least they both gut in compensation, so I'll forgive them for that. Because of the previous video being completely trash now, we'll talk about it again today considering all of the changes that will be coming. This will be more of a generalized guide for the Virgo Cup still, so if you're looking for any deep dive analysis of certain skills or interactions, there won't be much of that here. I'm only here to provide you with some ideas and things to consider going into your Virgo Cup preparation. I just want to mention now that I am still learning how all these changes will affect global, so keep that in mind. If I included something that you don't think should be on this sheet, or I didn't include something significant that I missed, please let me know and everyone in the community know in the comment section down below, and I'll go ahead and update the sheet. Alright, let's get into the logistic of the Virgo Cup. Again, first off, same condition, nothing really changed. 1600-meter Hanshin turf racecourse, clockwise or right-handed. For autumn, which is fall, and then sunny and firm condition. For stat, some of the stuff did change a little bit. For speed, you obviously want to go 1200 as much as possible, but if you have to go 1150 because you don't want to waste extra stats when you can click on some other thing, because sometimes you can like over cap on speed. I know some people don't like to do that. So just try to aim for 1200 speed or as close as possible, but sometimes you have to go to like 1189 and that's like perfectly fine. There's like no difference, honestly speaking. For stamina, nothing really changes, still 600 to 700. You still won't likely see any stamina debuffer in a mile track. People say that stamina plus gut should generally be around 1000. I generally agree with that, especially since the gut threshold got increased a little bit from before. Some people did say that they prefer 700 on front runner, which depending on how much they decide to contest and overtake each other, they might burn extra stamina. So if you do run front runner, 700 is a more safe range, but for pace chaser, lane searcher, and closer, 600 to 650 it should be good enough. For power, still the same thing. 900, at least aim for at least 901 power. If higher, that's even better. Because the special speed buff is on power on this track, so any increment of 300 plus 1 will grant you a little bit of extra speed buff, which is why 901 is the max amount that you can get. So generally you want to aim for 901 power if you can. Gut, I think my previous video I said you want 300, around 300 gut. Now because gut is actually useful, still not as useful compared to like power and speed. Uh, Definitely not. A lot of people saying like, oh, do you want to go gut max build? Gut is still probably the worst stat out of the bunch. You can argue between wit, but it's still not as crazy as people are making it sound. It's just not useless, but it's still on the bottom of the hierarchy in terms of stats, in my opinion, at least. So, but you do want at least 400 gut, maybe a little bit more if you can afford to do that. You would, I think, with the new scenario, this will be relatively achievable. Definitely helps if you have the Rico card that can grant you stamina and gut as well when her dates and all that chain event and all the other random event that she gives, which is really nice. But if you don't have Rico and you can't hit this, you might have to hit some gut, which you probably will anyway because of all the sometimes the Spirit Bomb and the Unity Cup is just completely random, and most of the time it still lands on gut anyway. So you probably won't have issue with gut in that regard. Wit 400 to 600 plus is still the recommended amount. If you are a newer player or your deck still sucks, then you can still aim for 400 for your Pace Chaser, Laser Searcher, and Encloser, while your front runner go for 600 plus. If you have a strong enough support card uh, deck in your account, and you are getting more and more familiar with the Unity Cup, I know it took me like at least 15 career before I got used to this scenario. If you're used to the scenario and you have a pretty strong support card in your account, then you can want to aim for 600 for your Pace Chaser, Lace Searcher, and Encloser, while for your front runner you want to go higher than that, around 800 or more if you can afford it. Before talking about frontrunner, I just want to say again, if something on this sheet doesn't look right to you, please let me know the reasoning and I'll look more into it and update the sheet from there. Alright, so for frontrunner, I would like to mention now for all of these sections, I have a note up here. This is not an exhaustive list of UMA. I see a lot of comments saying like, oh, why didn't you include this one? Why did you include this one? A lot of those ones that people are saying probably does work. You can honestly use any UMA for Champions Meet, no one's stopping you, but I'm just throwing some of the more relevant one and just some examples of ones. I don't want to include every single possible option because then a lot of them like no most people won't use them anyway, so there's no point of me including them. Some that I really want to point out is first off, Summer Marzensky still be pretty strong, but I think definitely loses a bit in value. because the other positioning with these changes get more skills that they can use to accelerate and have more speed. They can actually contest Summer Marzensky even after activating Angling and Scheming, because the inherited Angling and Scheming only have 0.2 acceleration. So these other positions can actually use some of their new skills that they have available in their arsenal now to actually beat her on that front, which is why some people are saying that Saiyan Sky might actually be better than Summer Marzensky, because Saiyan Sky innately has angling and scheming, because that's her own unique skill. Her acceleration is like 0.4 instead of 0.2. So then it'll be harder for the other position horse with their new skills to catch up to her once you activate angling and scheming, compared to Summer Marzensky, where she'll only have 0.2 from the inherited angling and scheming. But that's the end of that. Daiwa Scholar was still pretty good. Smart Falcon will still be pretty decent. Her unique also got changed a little bit as well, and she'll still be good. But as I mentioned in my previous version, it's still the same issue where her turf is really, really bad innately. So you have to invest in a lot of turf spark for her to make her work, which is really tedious a lot of the time. But if you want to go with the extra effort to run Smart Falcon, then you can definitely do that. Block Xing, you can run her as an H, you can run her as a blocker, not too much to talk about there. The one I really want to talk about is the new runaway strategy on Silent Shizuka. Unfortunately, I do not know how to use her as an ace. I do not have any experience with that, so I can't really give advice on that. I'll let the other VC talk about it that has more knowledge in that regard. But what I can tell you is that it'll be extremely easy for you to make a blocker Silent Suzuka, because she'll most likely be fun for the entirety of the race. Right? You just have to invest in a bunch of speed, power, and stamina, and then you'll probably be good to go. And a lot of the front runner will not be able to activate angling and scheming when the time that they want to activate angling and scheming. Again, if you want to run any blocker, either it's boxing or Silent Suzuka in this case, please do not run front runner ace of your own. The whole point of it is to screw other front runner. If you run your own front runner, then it's kind of counterproductive, and one of your aces is basically losing a lot of its value. Alright, let's talk about some of the skills now. I'm not going to talk about all of these because that'll take forever. I'll talk more the more noticeable one. The one I label in cyan here is the one that I would consider mandatory and necessary for each of these positions. Green are the recommended one, and the yellow one are like the meh. You can take some of these if you have nothing else better in some of these other category, but either they have certain condition to proc it, but they can be good or they can be pretty mid. So that's what these colorings are for. Obviously, with front running strategy is still the same for the most part. You still want to inherit Saiyan Sky for the angling and scheming. If you're not Saiyan Sky herself, you'll want to grab groundwork to make so that you can have easier time to be in the first position and maintain first position to activate angling and scheming. But the difference now is that outside of inheritance, you can also use a Smart Falcon power card, which I'll talk about a little bit in the card section, to grab groundwork, so you don't need to go through the inheritance hell of groundwork anymore, which is really, really nice. You can invest you can actually use more better parents that can invest in better skills chances and also stats, which is much more important in this new scenario, because you want to be crazy capped out in stats, right? So it's really nice if you can use Smart Falcon in that situation. You want 3 greens for groundwork to proc, obviously. That's something that I really want to mention as well. Early lead is also something added that should be pretty mandatory for front runner. This can now proc at the beginning of the gate. They removed the 5-second at start time condition for this skill, so this can now activate right when the gate open. This gives you acceleration and also counts towards your groundwork requirement, just like focus and concentration. But this one has a wit check, so it's not guaranteed. I mean, early lead is also a wit check, I guess, but like they're basically pretty similar, except early lead is actually like acceleration, while focus and concentration is not as useful in that sense. But this early is now considered a green in that instance to procking groundwork. So if you have early lead, you have focus and 1 green, you can technically proc groundwork. Obviously, you have to pass 2 wit check, which depending on how high your wit is, you might not want to do that. 3 green is still going to be the 100% absolute sure way of you procking groundwork. But these 2 skill now can act as a replacement if you can't farm for some of these greens. Obviously, green hunting is obviously sometimes very, very annoying. And with this new scenario, it might also be more annoying because hints are less frequent, at least from what I experienced playing in the Unity Cup so far. Some of the green skill, fall runner, right-handed, firm condition, you can read up through all these. These are all 100% activatable in this VIRGO Cup track. Obviously, some of the usual good skills are still here. Fast-paced escape artist, corner adept professor curvature, mild corner front runner corner. This one I like to mention. Dodging danger plus prudent positioning. These two skills are good if you can get both of them together. If you can only get one of them, do not get them. Okay. You have to get them together or do not get them at all. If you only get one of them, you will probably lose length and you don't want to do that. This is with the new lane movement buff. I guess I don't know if it's a buff or a change. I think it's a buff, but you have to have both of them in order for you to have gain significant yields with these skills. Something I'd like to mention actually also, Summer Marzenski, even though this track is a mile, so you don't need any recovery, you still, if you're running Summer Marzenski, you still want recovery to activate her unique, so you want to run 1 or 2 white recovery skill. So like Moxie, you can run straight away recovery, you can run in corner recovery, any of those that will work. Just 1 or 2 of them to make sure you can activate Summer Marzenski unique from that. Alright, let's talk about some of the cards now. Nothing really changes really. Speed cards still the same. I'm not going to go over some of them because they're just like, you can look through them, you can look them up yourself if you really want to. Science Shizuka gives you some nice front runner cards if you have that. Stamina card, I don't even know why I leave this here anymore. I don't think people will run Stamina card in this Champions Meet, but if you do want to run it, then here you go. Power card, I want to mention Falcon is one that I added, and this one I recommend people to use this card if you have it. If you don't, borrow it, unless you need to borrow super, like a max Kitasan Black, then I think you might want to consider still borrowing Max Kitasan Black, but if you have a Kitasan Black that you can use, borrowing this Power Smart Falcon will be really, really nice. It'll make your front runner preparation so much easier. The Japanese version, this will apply after the November 11th change. You can get groundwork from this card, and it's from the first chain event top option. So this is not like a third chain event where like you might not hit it depending on your deck in the scenario. It's the first chain event. The chance of you not hitting this is like very, 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 very low. So it's very, very nice to have this card in your deck if you have it, and if you don't have it, you can borrow it. Obviously, you still want to hit your target stat line, but that's one card that's definitely worth mentioning now after the changes. With card, I didn't really change too much. I removed Yukino Beijing because everyone can get no stopping me now, which is a really nice skill after the buff as well. And then I added a friendship section, obviously because Rico is OP for this Unity Cup, so if you have her, please use her. It's really good. Now I'm going to show you an example of a front runner setup for my account. Please use what you have available on your account. We all have different accounts, different cards, different UMA. And also the strength of your cards in terms of limit break also matters, so please keep that in mind when you construct your deck for your UMA. But for me, let's say I'm training a Summer Marzenski, I'll borrow a Seiyin Sky from someone because I don't have her, and then I'll use whatever Uma that I have that has decent affinity with her, while also having very good blue sparks and also mild pink sparks as well. I could go for one of these other ones, but these ones aren't as significant in yellow. I would generally avoid yellow unique. They're just there if you have them, but I think it's better for you to focus on getting better stats from blue sparks and better chances of hitting the mile S from your pink spark. That's my opinion. But I'm gonna run like 2 speed card, and then I'm gonna run 2 wit card, and then Rico because I have her, and then I'll borrow a Smart Falcon power card to grab the groundwork very securely, and then this will be my deck: 2 speed, 2 wit, my Rico, and then 1 power card. Should be able to hit all the target stat line that I mentioned earlier. If I want to get groundwork through inheritance, I don't know why I won't ever want to do that, but in that case I can borrow a fine motion instead and can probably hit 1200 wit, 1200 speed, and 900 some plus power while hitting the stamina requirement, as long as I mess around with some of my spark through testing as well. Alright, let's talk about page chasers now. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, so if I did not include your Oshi, please do not attack me. Taiki Shadow, probably one of the best page chaser and probably one of the best Uma for this Virgo Cup. Her unique got changed, so like it's not only the final corner, you can activate in the final corner or later. And also Taiki Shadow and her kit innately come with Mile Maven, also come with changing gear, and also the previous version, which is shifting gear, which all of them got buffed, which makes her a Mile track monster, so she'll be one of the best one in this Virgo Cup in my opinion. There's one thing I like to note though, her career, if you run her career as it is without running any extra races, you will not level up her shooting for victory unique skills in her career. You have to run some extra races to get enough fans in those senior year milestone to hit the senior year milestone to upgrade her shooting for victory up up to 3 times in the senior year. So it's very important for you to run some extra races to get those extra fans to upgrade her unique skills. I was testing this in team trials while trying to get a better team trials Taiki Shuttle, and I noticed that, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did it now, so I can let everyone know about it, so they don't have, they're not stuck with a level 1 shooting for victory while they're running up in the Virgo Cup competition. Fuji Kisaki, pretty good. Naruto Brian also got decently buffed, so she'll be pretty good as well. Ogre Cap still gonna be decent. She's the GOAT still. Meisho Doto and TM Opera is also going to be pretty decent in this one. You can technically run them Lace Surger as well, but I like them Pace Chaser a bit better in my opinion because they innately come with some Pace Chaser skill innately in their kit already. Rice Shower also got changed, her unique got changed. She innately has Highlander, which also got changed, and then also she comes with Determined Descent or the upgraded version of Straight Descent, and the new layout of the Virgo Cup will have a downhill at near the later portion of the race that you can utilize a Determined Descent. So she might be a pretty good option as well. I'm not too sure on this, but I think she would be at the very least, she'll be a pretty decent choice if you want to run Rice Shower as well. For the skill, green skill, nothing to really talk about. I included some yellow ones here if you want an RNG for some extra speed. That's totally fine. For some of her unique skill, I'll recommend Naruto Brian Shadow Brick. And then the rest of these, it's like if you have them on your account and you have good sparks on them, get them. But I would not really go out of your way to uh, hinder your blue sparks and pink spark just to get these unique skill. They're not that crazy in my opinion. The only one that's like worth getting is Shadow Break. If that's my personal opinion, you can feel free to argue in the comment section down below and I'll read through them. But for some of the generic speed skill, No Stopping Me, Nimble Navigator will be one of your required skill. This one you should be able to get always anyway, as long as you choose Team Carrot in the Unity Cup and you beat Rico in the final Unity Cup tournament. Then you'll be able to get No Stopping Me for free, so everyone should be able to get this pretty easily. Pace User Corner, Mild Corner, Compressive Curvature, still going to be pretty good. Prepare to Pass and Speed Star will be pretty decent as well. If you run Fine Motion as one of your card, you can get speed. You have a decent chance of getting Speed Star on her final chain event, which is good. And then Uma Stand, this one is a bit hard to get because I think the best way to get this right now is through Inheritance, or you're gonna have to run some cards that are not very good. Like I think Ghost Ship card can grant you Uma Stand. And I think a Gut card can grant you Uma Stand, but you don't want to run Gut cards still. You don't want to run Ghost Ship because like the cards aren't that good of a stat card, and also Ghost Ship has like 15 hints, so you're not likely to get Uma Stand anyway. So if you did prepare Uma with Uma Stand as a hint, you can try to get Uma Stand through Inheritance, but I won't stress too much about it. If you can get it, then that's great. If you can't get it, don't worry too much about it. And then these are some other skills that you can go for if you have already got some of these other green skills up here. And then for cards, there's nothing really changed too much. Once again, stamina, once again, probably not needed, but I included there anyway. I'm trying to see if I changed anything really. I think I added like Daiwa Scarlet to Wit. I don't know why I didn't add her before. I think I probably should have. But the card section, nothing really changed too much in my opinion. Fine Motion, like I mentioned earlier, for Speed Star, so she'll be on the higher priority list. If you don't have it, then you can borrow it, but that depends on if you need to borrow a Rico or you need to borrow a Kita-san Black. So that's up to you to decide depending on your circumstances, but that is an option there. So let's say I'm gonna train a Taiki Shuttle for my account. I'm gonna borrow a Ogre Cap for my account. I have a lot of Ogre Cap that has pretty decent sparks, and I'm gonna borrow a Naruto Brian for Shadow Brick. And because Taiki Shuttle has 20% speed and 10% wit, I know I can get away with 2 speed card to get 1200 speed while also running a 2 wit card. Because I have my own Rico, I can borrow Fine Motion that I can get very high wit stat and also helps with energy and also help increase speed a little bit as well. So I should be able to hit 1200 speed, like maybe 1000 wit, 800 to 1000 wit, and then I can go for a power card to get her power up a little bit more to get to that 901 threshold with one of these cards potentially. I might use something else depending on what happens. And then I can invest in a ton of power spark, or I can invest in a little bit of stamina spark as well to make sure that I hit the 600 stamina threshold. Alright, let's talk about Lace Surger now. Nothing too fancy from the usual list. I added Agnes Digital if you want to run her. I think she's not the best in this one, but she is usable if you do decide to use her. Mayana Top Gun, there's something with like special event that can make her pretty OP if you can make it work. I'll try to look into it, but I'm not too familiar with this. I'm not the best person to give you advice on it because of it. But I think Vodka and Majiro Ryan were probably one of the stronger ones still. Just because Vodka innately has Furious Feet, and also Ryan has the Let's Pump Some Iron, but it's her own unique, so it's gonna be extra strong compared to like the inherited version. And then Alcana Pasa Fantasy, I think it's a fantasy form, that's what it's called. Still gonna be pretty strong as well. Something I would like to mention is that Gold City, I mentioned in my previous one as well, but this one, she can actually use a skill called Keen Eye, which will be buffed to count as like a mild version of Dominator, which can lower your opponent's Uma's speed. But I think it will proc in the mid race after the changes. I know currently Keen Eye is in the early race, but I think they're changing it to the mid race, I believe, or is it like the end of early race? So I don't know how significant the speed cut in the mid race area will how beneficial that will be, so I'm not too sure on that, but that is something that I would like to mention just for people to know. For skill wise, same thing for green. For the uniques, Let's Pump Some Iron, obviously mandatory. Redshift from Marozensky, I would heavily recommend this as well. And these other two, I would not really. I don't even know why I add these two. I think if you have these two, then please just use these two. These two are really really good still for the backliner. Nothing really changed from that. Slick Surge, Updrafter, or the upgraded version on your left and Furious Feet will still be really really insane for Laser. They're here to gamble, so obviously you want these gamble skills. Laser Corner, Mao Corner does the same thing. No Stopping Me, Nimble Navigator is still the same. Uma Stand as well if you can have it from Inheritance. And then some of these other skills that you can consider as after you got all these skills up here in your skill list if you have them. Alright. Cards, there's something that I want to talk about with cards. Speed cards are the same, stamina card you're probably not going to use. Power card, if you want to grab Furious Feet, Ogre Cap Power card on her last chain event will grant you Furious Feet guarantee. So some Umas such as Gold City and Grass Wonder that innately come with on your left, you can borrow a Power Ogre Cap, or if you have it, you can use one for the Power Ogre Cap to grab Furious Feet as well on top of that on your left innately in their kit, which is really really nice. So that's something for you to definitely consider. For the wit section, nothing really changed except with nice nature. So this one's kind of the opposite case. If you run someone like Vodka, for example, that innately come with Furious Feet as long as you upgrade her potential level, of course, then you can go ahead and borrow a nice nature wit, or you can use your own nice nature wit if you pulled on that banner to grab on your left on top of the Furious Feet innately in her kit as well. It's kind of like these two, except you flip them around with like the Power Ogre Cap to guarantee you to get both of these upgraded skill there. So, and then obviously Rico is still going to be good. And then let's say for my example, I'm going to run a Vodka for my account. I'm going to use my Majiro Ryan, and I'm going to borrow a Marozensky. And then because Vodka has a 10% speed boost training boost and a 20% power boost, I don't need power card. Because obviously I already have Furious Speed, so I don't need Ogre Cap power. And then also training speed will also give me power as a secondary stat. So with the 20% power bonus, I can get 901 without any power card pretty easily. I can still use Power Spark if I like want to be really safe, but I would like to mostly invest in Stamina Spark probably to hit the 600 stamina because I don't have any power cards, so I'm not likely to hit power as often to get the secondary stat of the stamina. So probably gonna invest a little bit more on stamina spark and then a little bit of power on top of that to make it really really strong. I'll run like 3 speed card to make sure that I hit 1200 speed very reliably, and also get more speed card means that more power as well as a secondary stat. Rico obviously really strong, and then I'll run like 2 wit card with Machikane being a scenario link card really really good, and then borrow a nice nature for the on your left, and also another wit card for me to have more wit for my vodka. Now we are finally at the enclosure section. Obviously, enclosure not too many Uma. You see the same enclosure still until they release more Uma. So I'm not gonna talk about them specifically. For green skills, same thing as the other one. Nothing too fancy to talk about. Unique skill, same thing as Laserger. For the speed skill, Top Drafter and Furious Speed will still be good for your end closer. Straightaway Spurt and Encroaching Shadow will be a really good one for end closer, obviously. There is some new ways to get Straightaway Spurt if you don't want to get it through inheritance, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I mean, you already see it over here, which is like kind of funny how it end up working out. But end closer, corner, mild corner, corner adept, Nimble Navigator, still the same thing as like the other Paystation and Laser. Some of these skills got buffed, so they'll be used for these position really really well, and some of these other skills that you can look at if you really want to. And then the speed skill, Sweet Tosho speed card can grant you straight away spurt. I think I think it's a bit RNG though. I don't think it's guaranteed, so you have to consider that if you want. This only a I think you should only use this if you have it, if you're a whale and you maxed it or you borrow it. With like I still don't think probably not the best value of uh best value to borrow it. I think it's more for whale in my opinion, but I just listed it here just to show you guys. Naruto Taishin can grant you end closer corner, I believe, and then stamina card. I don't care about you, don't really need it. Ogre Cap power still be useful because of the Furious Speed as I mentioned earlier, and then the split card. Air Shakar, oh my god, like this card somehow being a meme card, somehow actually being good for end closer. With the change, I believe with this change, I believe it's this change, not the future changes, you can actually get straightaway spurt from her second chain event, which is really, really nice, but also funny at the same time because this card's been the biggest meme card in the community for a long time, and somehow she's actually pretty good now, for end closer at least. And so in my example, let's say I want to run a gold chip. I'm going to grab my Regiro Ryan and then borrow a Marzensky again for their uniques. And then because gold chip has 0% speed bonus and has 20% stamina and 10% power bonus, I most likely will want to run 3 speed card to make sure I hit 1200 speed, and also maybe run a little bit of speed sparks as well, just to make sure that I have higher consistency of hitting 1200 speed in my runs. And then I'll run Rico, obviously, should be able to be enough for me to get 600 stamina with Rico alone, and also with borrowing an Ogre Cap power to grab the Furious Speed, while also pressing power will give me more power to get my 901 power, and also give me stamina stat, which will be boosted by my 20% stamina bonus from Gold Ship, which will make me be able to hit 600 pretty reliably. I think I might need to hit like 6 to 7 stamina sparks still, but other than that, you want to invest the rest into like speed and power, obviously, to hit the recommended stat line that I mentioned at the beginning. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, thoughts, please drop a comment down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, I'm still learning how these changes will affect the game and these tracks, so if you think I was wrong on something, please correct me with reasoning and I'll update the sheet accordingly as well. I wish you the best of luck with your Virgo Cup prep and your free polls from the Rico banner. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care.